night before, the skies cleared for the first time in days. Stars stretched endlessly above Tengboche, bright, distant, ancient. We stood outside in the cold, not speaking much, just watching the universe reveal itself, as if Everest had pulled back the clouds to remind us what we were walking toward. The moment we stepped out of our tea house, it was there Kangtega, not just a mountain, but a wall of ice and sky, rising like a fortress. It didn't just stand in front of us, it towered. A reminder that in the Himalayas, the landscape isn't just scenery, it's presence.
Something. There is Namche.
From up here, we could see Namche and Kumyang, tiny dots in the distance, tucked between valleys. It was hard to believe. We had walked all that way through snow, silence, and thin air, and yet here we were higher, stronger, and still climbing. We started our trail to Dingboche under a clear sky, the kind you hope for in the Himalayas. Behind us, Tengboche Monastery stood proud in the morning light, and around us, the mountains revealed themselves no longer hidden, but fully alive. It felt like the trail was opening up, and so were we. By morning, the snow had hardened. The cold returned, and so did the silence. Tengboche disappeared behind us. Wrapped in white and memory, the trail ahead wound along frozen ridges and crumbling cliffs. And though we were surrounded by giants, the mountains didn't roar. They whispered, we listened. To our breath, to our footsteps, because sometimes the quietest paths leave the loudest marks. And then, after walking for some time, it happened. Through the clouds and above the ridgeline, we saw it, Everest. Distant, towering, unreal for the first time, the mountain that had lived in our minds stood in front of us, and even from far away, it felt close, like it had been waiting for us to notice.
Behind, like a pyramid. Everest.
Everest.
Like behind you see the
And just to the right of Everest stood Lhotse, sharp, majestic, the fourth highest mountain in the world. Together, they didn't just dominate the skyline, they defined it.
Thumbs up. Super bad.
We walked along winding trails, snow resting gently on the edges like nature's trim. The skies were clear. The light was perfect. Everywhere we looked peaks, valleys, and silence. In weather like this, it's easy to see why they call this heaven for mountain lovers. We walked in the shadow of Ama Dablam, sharp, elegant, and always watching. It's one of the most beautiful peaks in the Himalayas. And one of the most humbling. The trail beneath it wasn't easy, rocky, steep, relentless, but with a mountain like that beside us. We kept moving. Their Tengboche, rising steep and proud above the valley. I couldn't help but point it out. Because some mountains don't just stand tall, they pull your eyes toward them. And in that moment, Tengboche had all of our attention. We walked through what might be the most beautiful part of the trek: open trails, snow-kissed fields, and the smell of earth around us. Potato lands stretched beside us, and the horizon was a lineup of giants. I turned the camera on myself, but it was the background that stole the moment. Mountains everywhere, and me somewhere in between them, smiling. We crossed another suspension bridge, swaying gently above a deep, endless valley. Below us, the land dropped away, but ahead of us, Ama Dablam rose into the sky. It felt like the mountain was watching over us, calm, distant, and impossibly beautiful. Moments like this remind you, this isn't just a trek, it's a privilege. After the suspension bridge, the trail always turns steep. No easing into it, just up. But today, after 2 days of fog and snow, the skies finally opened, clear views. Warm light. It felt like the mountains were breathing again, yet even in this beauty. Helicopters echoed in the distance, rescue missions in motion, a reminder. Out here, the weather gives and takes.
Which one?
We were still deep in the mountains, but now the sun had taken over. The snow was melting, the jackets were opening, and for the first time in days, we felt the warmth. Up here, even sunlight feels like a gift. In the distance, Ama Dablam stood like a sculpture, sharp, graceful, untouchable. Its name means mother's necklace. And when you see it, you understand why. The ridges stretch out like protective arms, and the hanging glacier shimmers like a jewel, even from far away. It pulls you in, not just a mountain, but a masterpiece. As we walked along the trail, there it was, Ama Dablam, rising sharp above the valley, catching the light like a blade. We didn't need a map to know its name, because some mountains introduce themselves just by being seen. And just like that, Everest and Lhotse appeared again on the horizon, clear, old, familiar. It felt like they were saying hello once more, reminding us they've been watching all along. Moments like this don't need words,
Camp 2
just
and camp.
gratitude.
Camp 1, you see the black,
Yeah?
like a slope ridge,
Yes.
just there, and this behind the Camp 1.
Okay.
And you see the last point, like a little bit like a tooth,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a one, and
Okay.
then behind black round,
Yes.
here there is Camp 2.
Okay.
And then climb.
Walking beside us, quietly guiding the way, is our Sherpa Tanzi. He's summited Everest 3 times, Ama Dablam 7 times, and more mountains than most of us can name, but you'd never hear it from him, because true strength doesn't speak loudly. It just keeps walking. After a few hours of walking through wind and wonder, we reached Pangboche. It was time for a break, and lemon tea, as always, was the answer. Hot, simple, perfect. In a place like this, even a cup of tea feels like a reward earned. Above us, the sound of rotors cut through the silence. An emergency helicopter leaving with someone who couldn't continue. For hikers, it's a quiet reminder that the mountain decides, not us. And when the chopper fades into the sky, we all walk on, a little slower and a little more aware of where we are. After our break in Pangboche, we stepped back onto the trail, this time into the wide open valley that leads to Dingboche. The wind chased us from behind, and the sun pressed down from above. It was strange being in the mountains, but feeling the heat. The land was vast, the silence louder, and Dingboche still waited, somewhere up ahead.
See now clearly.
Yeah.
Everest. That's a small. There is Lhotse and Lhotse shore.
Okay.
It's long range is Nupche range. Nupche is other side. We go here and then turn this way.
From the valley floor, we could see the path leading toward Ama Dablam Base Camp, a narrow trail, winding its way to the foot of one of the most iconic peaks in the Himalayas. It looked quiet, remote, powerful. That's the kind of mountain you don't just visit, you approach with respect. As we moved along the trail, we could see it in the distance. Shomare, our next stop. Our lunch spot, a tiny village tucked into the valley, waiting with warm food and a short rest, and after hours on our feet. It looked like comfort. Now, we could see Pangboche in the distance. And all along the way, Ama Dablam followed us, always there, always watching. No matter where we turned, her presence never left our side. Today, she walked with us. We reached Shomare around midday, our second break of the day. It was quiet, calm, and tucked into the valley. We sat down for lunch, recharging for the final stretch toward Dingboche. As we moved higher, the trail changed, and so did the company. No more cows or donkeys. Now it's only yaks, strong, steady, and built for the cold. Up here, they carry the weight of the mountains, just like the people do. As we entered the valley, the wind hit us head-on, sharp, loud, and relentless. It cut through the layers, carrying dust, snow, and the chill of the high Himalayas. The cold wasn't just around us. It was inside the wind itself. Out here, the valley doesn't whisper. It howls. We all have different bodies, different pains showing up in different places. So our speeds vary. Some walk faster, some slow down. But no one walks alone. We check on each other. We wait. We care. Because this journey isn't just about reaching the destination. It's about reaching it together. Far ahead, rising like a perfect white pyramid, Pangboche came into view, elegant and sharp, standing at the edge of the Everest region like a silent sentinel. They call it Daughter of Everest. And from here, she looks both distant and divine, another giant waiting patiently in the sky. We could see our destination in the distance so close, yet so far. The trail ahead was steep, uneven, and unforgiving. This part of the trek didn't just test our legs. It tested our mind up here. What matters most isn't strength in your body. It's strength in your heart and the will to keep going, even when it hurts. Next, the trail drops down to the Dingboche River, and then climbs hard again. But before that, we paused for water, for breath, for a moment of stillness. The toughest part was still ahead. And sometimes the smartest move is knowing when to rest. Down here, the Dingboche isn't as wide or wild as she'll become. She flows narrow and fast, like she's still in her youth, rushing through the valley with energy and purpose. One day, she'll grow broader, slower, but for now, she's just beginning her journey like us. By evening, the valley turned wild. The wind came rushing through cold, sharp, and constant.
Tengboche.
At this altitude, nothing feels familiar. Breathing is harder. Steps are slower, and the cold sinks deeper than the skin up here. Nothing is easy, but that's what makes it real.
Tengboche.
And at last, there it was, Dingboche, quiet, distant, and wrapped in golden light after hours of wind, altitude, and effort. I didn't record anything after we reached Dingboche on the 9th. The exhaustion was real. My body needed stillness more than memory. But the next morning, March 10th, light crept into the room, and something shifted. I picked up the camera again because even after the hardest days, the journey doesn't stop. It just wakes up with you. As we stepped outside our tea house in Dingboche, the crisp mountain air greeted us. Under a flawless blue sky, the majestic Tengboche mountain stood tall and clear, its rugged beauty glowing in the morning light. A perfect day in the heart of the Himalayas.
Yeah.
Today is our acclimatization day in Dingboche. We're heading towards Nangkartshang Hill, an essential hike to prepare our bodies for what lies ahead. The trail climbs steeply, testing our endurance and breath. Tanzi, our Sherpa, advised us not to push all the way to the summit. Save your strength for tomorrow, he said. And we listened. Every step today is not just about the climb, but about getting stronger for the days to come.
Island Peak.
As we climbed higher along the Nangkartshang Hill trail, the vastness of the Himalayas began to unfold. In the distance, rising like a silent giant, stood Makalu, the 5th highest mountain in the world. We began the climb up Nangkartshang Hill, slow steps, thin air, and the quiet crunch of stone beneath our boots. This isn't just part of the trek, it's preparation for our bodies, for our minds, for what lies ahead. The climb steepens quickly. Breathing gets heavier, legs grow slower, but up here, struggle is part of the rhythm. We're not racing. We're adapting one step at a time.
Makalu.
Halfway
Lhotse.
up, We paused,
Makalu.
not because we were weak, but because we were wise. In high altitude, rest is strength, and in the silence, the mountains reminded us to listen to our breath and respect the journey. Tanzi reminded us not to reach the summit today. Save your energy for tomorrow, he said, because this hill, it's not about conquering. It's about conditioning. We're not here to win. We're here to last.
Yeah.
Far across the white horizon, standing calm and majestic, was Cho Oyu, the sixth highest mountain in the world. We didn't go all the way, but we didn't need to. The mountain gave us what we came for: perspective, breath, and strength for the road ahead. Tomorrow, we move toward Tengboche, one step closer to the dream. Only 2 more days until we stand at Everest Base Camp. The journey isn't over, but the goal is finally within reach. The mountain is calling, and we're almost there.
Time-lapse world.